Number one is metrics, because by the way, if you are not tracking your metrics, you don't have a business. You do not have a business. And I know we briefly talked about it in the previous segment because Caleb was talking about some metrics, but I just want to be very clear. You must be tracking your metrics every single day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. You must know your metrics. If you do not know your metrics, you do not know if you're growing, if your business is growing, or if your business is dying. You actually have no idea. So you must track your metrics. Very simply put, every one of you has access when you join to the Millionaires Club dashboard. Okay, all of you have access to it. It is not meant to be that complicated. Okay, which hold on one second. I have like 19 people calling me. You must be tracking your metrics. So all of you are going to be getting your business. You have a Millionaires Club dashboard. And that dashboard is going to be, something that you could easily hold on to and utilize as, you're reflecting to it, but like your business Bible, okay? Like that is supposed to be where you plug in all your numbers and you're going to be able to tell, is my business growing? Is my business dying within 2 seconds? Because think about it. If you show me 1 month's worth of numbers, 1 month, not months, okay? Not quarters, not years, 1 month's worth of numbers. And you go, hey, you got calls, you got convos, okay? You got seller leads, you have buyer lead, okay? You have starter offer, you have true offers, you have attorney review pipeline, pending pipeline, and you have your closed. And you show me all these numbers. If you show me 1 month's worth of numbers, I can tell you how your business is going to turn out. As an example, I'm going to give you, one example here, okay? Number one example. Calls, let's say for 1 month. This is just totals for a month, okay? Let's say you made 1,500 calls. You had 150 conversations, just 10%. Seller leads, you generated, let's say, 10. Let's say buyer leads, you generated 5. Starter offers is 1. Let's say you did 2 because you guys are starting to, obviously pay attention that we submit starter offers all the time. True offers, let's say you submitted 1. You have 0. You have 1 pending. You have 1 closed for this year. Obviously, I'd like to know more details about the pipeline, like, not only how many, but the dollar amount. Both, I want to know the number of transactions, right? The dollar amount for production, okay? And then the dollar amount for commission, okay? For attorney review, pending contracts, and close. You want to know all 3 of these. Because once you have this data, it's very easy to understand, hey, where do I need to fix, okay? Number one, you're having 1,500 calls a month, 150 conversations. For an entire 30 days, you had 150 conversations. So what you do, or what I would recommend you do, is take out a calculator and you do 150 divided by 20 working days, and that's 7.5 conversations a day. Do you think you're going to make $500,000 a year having 7.5 conversations a day? Probably not. Obviously, we're going to look at a lot of this and say, like, okay, great. Well, we need to increase here. This is, again, this isn't like crazy hard stuff, right? This is just like, okay, if we had... This is our business together. We're partners, and we go, hey, how can we improve this business? Well, number one, the calls have to go up, and number 2, the conversations have to go up. That's fine. Now, what'll happen because of this, we're probably going to grow here, right? So let's just say 10% of the amount of conversations we have end up being a lead of some sort. Obviously, because we're going to say our goal now, or a separate situation, maybe this is another agent, this is our goal, or whatever it is, just separate scenario. We go from 1,500 calls to 10,000 calls a month. You use an auto dialer. This is not supposed to be complicated, okay? 10,000 calls a month. Do you think you're going to be dialing for 4 hours minimum a day here? Probably. You're going to be dialing for several hours a day to get to 10,000 calls. And by the way, as an example, it probably will take you you'll be dialing, if you use an auto dialer, you can probably get to somewhere between 50 and 100 dials an hour. I did, in the 28 minutes I was dialing the phone, and I had a couple good conversations, I had 38 dials in 28 minutes. So I could probably double that, right? So 38 times 2, I could have 70. I was on a trend to do about 70 to 80 calls in an hour, okay? So let's just say 70 calls an hour, okay? And we need to do 10,000. 10,000 divided by 70 an hour is 142 hours worth of dialing divided by 30 days. Okay, which means I have to dial for about 4.76 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, again, I just want to show you something different, okay? I'm trying to show you what it would take to earn $1 million a year as an example. 10,000, which is 4.7 hours a day. Same situation, 10% conversations. That's 1,000 conversations a month, 1,000 conversations, right? 10%. Let's say it's again another 10% here for this bucket, which means that you're probably going to have, let's say, 90 and hold on, what is it, 7.5%? 150, that's 15, so that'll be 100 leads here. So I'm trying to think of like a good solution for these numbers. Let's say 75 and 25, something like that. 75 and 25. Starter offers. You watch this content, you're paying attention to the trainings, you understand how to submit starter offers. So you're going to submit of the 75 leads, let's say you submit 60 starter offers. You understand how to pitch deals, you're on these trainings, you're asking questions, you've learned the process of pitching deals, you're getting good at this process. You spend an adequate amount of time pitching deals, a couple hours every day minimum, and you're going to get, instead of on the 75 leads you generated, you started with 60 starter offers. You got a few people obviously come back with you at fairly reasonable numbers. Let's say that you had something like 15 true offers this month. If you had 15 true offers, what do you think you're going to be at an acceptance rate? You're probably going to be substantially higher. So you're probably going to have anywhere like 3 here. You're probably going to be at like 6 here and pending. And you're probably going to have a very full pipeline and have like 12 there. This is the engine that fuels the car, right? Fuels the vehicle. So it all starts with this side of the coin. And by the way, I'm not saying you need to have 10,000 calls or 1,000 conversations a month. I'm not saying that. And by the way, if you have 10,000 calls, you're probably going to speak to more than 10%. I'm just being conservative for a second, okay? But the point is, obviously, if you're upset with these numbers, this is the reason. If you're upset with with your starter offer numbers, right? This is the reason. If you're upset with these numbers, this is the reason, right? It just all flows down, right? And you just go to the point beforehand, right? If you're up, and then, but what's interesting, so it's like, if you're upset here, it's something here. And if it's something here, it's something, and it continues to be the reason of like, it flows back up the pipeline, right? Which is why all of this is so freaking crucial to be paying attention to and tracking, because without tracking it, you don't know what's wrong with your business. It's like all of you have this business, which I always just do a boat because don't make fun of my boat, but you have this business. This is your, oh, Jesus Christ. Now your boat's really screwed up. Anyways, you have this boat, okay, and you have a bunch of holes in it. One of it is you're not tracking your numbers. You're not making enough calls. You're not having enough conversations. You're not generating enough leads, right? Like you're not getting any true offers. You're not submitting starting offers, right? You don't know how to pitch deals, right? Like maybe your follow-up system is screwed up, right? And you have all these holes are in a bucket where if you could just plug these holes before we start building a team and all those other things, this will allow your business to do very well before you even start having to do all this other new stuff. Let's just fix the things that are going on in the boat before we start layering in all these other really complicated things. The whole thing is let's figure out how to fix this. Let's start tracking your numbers. Let's build out your follow-up system, right? Let's start making more calls. Let's learn how to pitch deals. Let's figure out how to master the art of communication on your conversations, right? So you can generate more leads, right? What is this? Practicing your starting offers, understanding how to get true offers, generating more seller leads, right? If you could figure all these pieces out, all of a sudden now you have a much better boat with no leaks in it, and now it can survive this crazy ocean you got, and it can actually start making you money. The problem is when you have all the holes in it, and then you're like, oh, well, maybe I should hire a team. Your holes are like, they're not going to fix the holes.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I have this that car wash deal that I've been working on. So we're still the buyers want to meet with the seller to go walk it and stuff. We're having issue where the two lenders that both one of them is local, one of them is a big national one, where they did a quick underwriting of the car wash based on just the initial automated underwriting, kind of like ChatGPT. They come at the value of like 1.5 mil. The buyer's offers at 2 mil and the seller wants 2.5 mil. And a lot of the sale over there are also recorded on the goodwill, so it's not, the comps are like a little off. And now the buyer's like doesn't feel good buying it because the lender thinks it's only worth 1.5 mil, and I think it's because it's only the
why. Just to be clear, let me be clear. Number one, why do you believe a lender did a ChatGPT type of underwriting?
Because the report that they pull looks like something from ChatGPT.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah. And I think based on what I'm seeing, like with the numbers, I'm thinking that's just the just the business itself, not the business in real estate, and I'm confirming that. But I want to know how would you handle this?
Okay, so I know we've talked about this in the past a few times. It sounds like to me you are, look, any person, by the way, which, I'm guessing, again, I don't know the full situation, and I apologize for not remembering 100% of the conversation we've had in the past. So, one, how much of the income is cash versus recorded income?
Net operating income, I think it was like 340K.
How much of it is cash?
20% of it, he said.
Okay, 20%. Okay, so that's not a little bit of money. Okay, that's one. Two, how does he have tax returns that show the same?
Yeah, so he combined his tax return for all his business because he owned multiple car washes, but he is gonna prepare 2025 by itself as well as prep try to redo the 24 taxes as well.
So as an example, it's hard to fake or hard to, if you can prove your income through a tax return, right, which is a very strong thing to have proof of, right? Because you can't fake that, right? You can't fluff that number, okay? Or not as much as, it's much harder to fake that is my point. Okay? So a bank, if they're looking at your property and like all that he has as an example is a P&L. Obviously, the P&L can be kind of manipulated. It can be more difficult for your bank to figure it out. You also might just have a not the right banker, right, or not the right lender specifically for this property. Okay, you might have someone where maybe it's not a good fit, right? Maybe you need to find someone who really specializes in car wash sales. Because if you're dealing with somebody who maybe is more of a traditional lender on regular real estate and they're trying to do a car wash deal, they don't understand the nuance, right? Also, like, are you trying to get an SBA loan, Hans, or are you trying to get a traditional bank on traditional loan?
So I have him talking to a big nationwide lender who does franchises and like business loans, and he's also talking to one of the local ones just because the property is rural, the big nationwide one, and another one that he talked to doesn't want to lend it there because it's a little rural. And the local one seems to be giving this about the same approximate value, which is at 1.5 mil.
Okay, so where are they coming up with that number if you didn't see your tax return yet?
They based on the revenue, three times revenue.
Three
I can
times
send,
revenue.
I can send you the report to
Yeah, I'm
Google.
going to need to see a report because it'll be very difficult for me to actually know if that's the case.
Yeah,
But
I'll do it
three
right
times
now.
revenue, by the way, is a very, very, it's like it doesn't tell the whole picture, is what I'm trying to say, right?
I agree.
Because if you're like anybody can do three times revenue, it doesn't mean the banks like that's not going to be how they lend. I mean, they're being very conservative because that's all they have. Because if they had more information validating the value of the asset, then they would do that. And you can even say, Hans, if it's three times revenue, that might be three times revenue for just the business, not including the real estate.
That's what I'm thinking too, because since they're basing it off revenue, that's how I came to the conclusion that I believe that their valuation is just for the business, not the business plus real estate. And I just sent you the report as well.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's my guess, and I would even double check with the bank. It's like, okay, just to clarify, so if the seller didn't want to sell the real estate and just wanted to do a lease back, right?
No, he wanted to sell both of
I
them.
know, I know, I know, I know. I'm saying hypothetically to the bank, and just say so. So just curious. So if the seller just wanted to sell the business, you would lend the same. You would lend 1.5 million. You'd be able to give us that type of or that type of valuation on just the business,
Yeah,
right?
that's actually what I'm checking with the bank right now.
That's what I'm trying to say. So
Okay.
get clarity there because then the business and the real estate might be worth 2.5 million.
Okay. Yep, that's where I am. Awesome. Thank you.
You got it.